Alright, so I'm going to go over today how you actually build a PBO that you're going to pack into your mod pack that's going to go on the Steam Workshop. This mainly has to do with Dayz and how you can pack mods, put them on your Steam Workshop, and then load them into your server. So the first things you want to do is go on here to Steam, go up here, click the game and software, find the tools, click on that. This will open up a bunch of tools for each of the different games that you have. So what you want to do is go down, scroll down so you find Dayz tools, and you want to go ahead and download that if it's not already downloaded. Once you download that, you can go ahead and open up Dayz tools. Now keep in mind, Dayz tools isn't the most stable thing. It does crash a lot. It has some issues here and there, mainly with making EDDs, stuff like that, which I may make in a later video. But once you open up Dayz tools, the main things we're going to worry about here is add-on builder, which is going to make our PBOs, DS utilities, which is how we're going to assign those PBOs, and then publisher is how we're going to put them on the Steam Workshop. So once we have this all set up, first thing we can talk about is, alright, so just to kind of show you quick, you can do this with any type of mod you make, or for example, we're going to use this SF overrides file. It just has a simple little config file in there that's for some overrides I want on my server. So once we do that, we're going to go to add-on builder. So for here, the destination of where I want them to go, for me, I just created a simple little PBO folder on my desktop. So anytime I pack any of these PBOs, they go straight into that folder. So from here, we're going to go in our directory and find that folder that we need. So right here, we got SF overrides. I'm going to select that. We're going to go ahead and pack it. Once we pack it, it's going to say build successful. So if I go in here, as you can see, I have SF overrides PBO. Now we're going to go into how we actually put those inside a mod. First thing you're going to want to do is go on and make a new folder. So whatever we name this folder, just make sure you put @ in front of it. So here we'll just say test. So once we make that folder, you're going to want to go inside of it. You're going to make 2 more folders. So we're going to make add-ons and keys. Alright, so now that we've made this folder, one thing we're going to do is, so now that we have this add-ons, so we're going to go in here, take that PBO that we just created, put it inside of that add-ons section. Once you do that, now we're going to go ahead and sign this PBO. So you're going to go into DS utilities. Once you get in here, there's some things that you need to be aware of. So you got what's called a private key. That's how you sign these PBOs and make it to where that mod only works if somebody has that key. And we'll kind of go over that a little bit later. But to make your own private key, what you're going to want to do is click this little N. Name your key what you want. So let's say you have a server, right? If you want to give it like a little unique thing, you can kind of just use the initials of your server or whatever, right? So the authority name of what that key is going to be called. So for us, we're just going to use test, and then the path of where you want that key to go, right? So for me, I've just created it on my desktop. But what you can do is where you would naturally, and keep in mind this folder has to stay active. If you delete this folder or something, then there will be no way for it to access what's called your private key. So I've created one on the desktop just to kind of show you. But if you look here, this is where mine is located at inside of my 86 Steam apps. And then inside the Dayz tools bin, DS utilities, which I'll include in this video down below so that you kind of have an idea where it's good to keep it. But like I said, you can put it wherever you want. Just make sure that you always have that folder, that this can access that when you sign keys. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a key. All right. So the thing it's going to tell you about is make sure that the private key you don't give out to anybody. So now if we go in here and look inside our folder, we now have these 3 files. You don't really need to worry about the test.txt. Just keep that as a reference. You'll probably never touch that again. Then you have what's called your test by private key. This is the one that you will never give out to anybody. Don't put it in your keys folder. Just keep it on your desktop. This is what's going to sign your actual PBOs. Then you have your test by key. This by key is the key that's used to be able to read those PBOs when you put it in your server. We'll go over kind of more about that here in a little bit. So now that we have that key, as you can see, you got to make sure that the private key, it accesses that private key here to that folder or wherever you put it. Once you have that accessed, now what I'm going to want to do is go to add source directory, go on here to where I created my test folder, click on add-ons, hit OK. Here you'll see that that PBO is set right here. I'm going to go ahead and process these files. What it's going to do is go in and sign them. So once it signs those PBOs, you can go ahead and close that out as you look inside your add-ons. So here I got that test folder. I go to add-ons. Here you can see it's been signed. So once it's signed, now we're going to go into the publisher. This is how we'll put it on the Steam Workshop. So if it's a new mod, or as you can see here, I got some other mods that I've published to Steam. So we're going to want to give it a name. Usually I kind of name it based off what the folder's called. So if we were to do it, I'm not going to really name it test, but that way we could look it up on the thing. We'll just do so we'll just name it SF Test 12. Then you're going to want to make it public so that you can find it. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and find the folder. So if we go to our desktop, it's right there. Select it. Now that we have it selected, you can give it a description. I recommend you put down for use on your servers only. That way nobody else takes it. And that way they're aware that they can't use this mod. And I'll kind of show you where that'll show up. But we'll just put do not use for the sake of this testing. We're going to go ahead and agree. If you want to change the image, you could do that here. And we'll kind of talk about the change notes here in a little bit. So once I got that mod set up, it's letting me know signature wise all the PBOs are signed. So we're going to go ahead and publish it. So there you can see that it was successfully published. Now as you see down here, I have SF Test 12 as something as I go updates, which we'll talk more about here in a second. Alright, so once you've loaded that mod up to Steam, there's one thing you want to do before you actually go look for it. So now that we've added it, now you want to do a quick update on it. So we're going to go ahead and pull that folder again. Select that test. We got it there. Now in my change notes, you can really type whatever you want in here, but we're just going to do update for meta. This just allows it to give it a chance to pull the unique number for it and to make sure that the mod works properly. So just make sure you do this quick before you actually try to use this mod. So we're just going to do a quick update on it. So now that we've updated that, it should show on Steam now properly. So keep in mind, sometimes these mods can take a little bit to publish to Steam. So the way you can kind of find your stuff is we'll go to Workshop, and then we'll type it in here. So as you can see, it hasn't popped up yet. But for the sake of this, we'll kind of go into one of my other ones that I have published. So as you can see here, this is what it'll kind of look like on Steam. I'm going to let you know when you first posted it, when it's last been updated. And then down here, the description, right, is where we'll want to put in that, only on your server. That way everybody's tracking when they come across this mod that they won't be able to use it because it's specific for your server. Here's something to keep in mind. If you are publishing a mod for everybody to use, which I'm pretty sure you already be tracking all this kind of stuff, if you're doing that, include the key. If it's for your private server, as you've seen inside, right, so there's this key folder. Normally, if you want other people to be able to use this mod, you would include that key folder or that by key in here. Since I don't want anybody else to be able to use that mod on their servers but my own, inside that folder that we created, right, when we made the keys, is we have this by key. So what you're going to want to do is, to make them work on your server, if I go inside my server, right, you go down to the keys folder. In here is where all the buy keys are going to be at for those mods. So as you see, any type of mod that I've added to my server, the buy key for that mod is in here to make it work. So right here is my personal buy key. I add it directly into here so that when I publish those mods on my server, that my server could actually read those mods. So just ensure that you put it in there and don't include it in the actual mod unless you want others to be able to pull that mod and put it on their server. Alright, so now that we kind of talked about that, how to put it on there, say we want to make adjustments to that mod, right? So say we created a new override, we've built a new PBO, you would go in here and add it into this folder. Then once you've signed them, everything's good to go. We're going to go back in here, right? We're going to find that mod that we've created, right? So SF12, go inside of here. Everything up here should still stay the same. The only thing you're looking at is pulling the mod content. So whatever you put in here is what that mod's going to have. It just updates it and wipes everything it had before with that new folder. So in here, go to my desktop, select that new updated mod that we've created. I'll select it again. Then you go down here. If you want to add change notes, this is really honestly more or less for people that use your mod so they can see what changes have been made between the different ones, or just kind of a reference for you if you do like a major update to it. You can kind of add in, you know, updated stacked items. And then what I'll do is I'll go in, update that mod. So that's been updated, and then it'll publish onto the Steam. So we'll go and look and see if that mod is popping up now. Bigger mods sometimes will take a little bit to publish to Steam. So as you can see, it still hasn't published on Steam yet. It has to go through a verification process to make sure that that mod doesn't have any type of malicious stuff in it. So just give it time for it to actually publish on here. One thing to kind of note, so say you do add a mod on your live server, everything seemed to work fine. Say you test on your test server or whatever. So here's a mod that I've had on here for a while. As you can see, I've done 48 changes to it. So say you go in, you make a change and it completely breaks your server won't come up. You can always go in here, go back to whatever date that you may want to, and you can revert this version back to that one, and then it'll rewrite it back to that date, and then you should be able to bring your server back up off of that, and then you can kind of go back in, make your changes, and then try to republish it again. Just keep in mind that the updates that you did in the actual folder on your computer are still the same, so it still has whatever broke it is still in there. So just keep that in mind when you do that. Alright, so do a little recap on what we've kind of went over. Main things you're going to be worried about is the add-on builder, to pack those files into PBOs. Then once you pack them, you're going to go into your DS utilities. That's how you're going to sign them, and with your private key, and then go into your publisher to publish them on Steam. Hopefully this is a good tutorial. You enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments or contact me directly. Hope this helps.